Dan, so one final question I've got to ask you. I
Hmm.
don't think we've talked about this for a long time, especially since WWE Backstage got cancelled. I think you know where I'm going. What do you think is going on with CM Punk?
No, to be honest, I haven't really been sort of paying too much attention. I didn't watch a lot of the sort of backstage stuff. There, I think it's just going to be always this one of those ongoing talking points. I think a few people I've seen have done videos about why it's still possible that he might join another company, like AW would be the most obvious one. Um, I think the most likely outcome for him, if he is ever going to be in the wrestling business again, is I think he will probably, come back into the WWE fold somehow. I don't see him joining another company personally. I don't think he would sort of like. I think maybe he's been sitting on the sidelines for this time, kind of thinking, would it be worth joining something like AW? Because I think the last thing he wants is to join a wrestling project that's just going to fail in a few years. Um, so I don't know. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I think he sort of. The word seems to be that he sort of priced himself out of a return to professional wrestling. He seems to be asking for a lot of money, and I don't think either company seems to be willing to give him that lofty a sum. Although, if I were AEW, I'd strongly consider it because he'd give them such a massive credibility boost.
No, it's just I think like I think the question is whether it's worth it, because I think what CM Punk can give you is that initial sort of shock value of like, oh wow, it's him in this position, and what's this going to mean overall for wrestling. But I think long term, I think maybe we've gone past the point where the CM Punk can really give you that much of a return on your investment. It's obviously going to be shocking to see him appear anywhere because it's been such a accepted thing for so long that he's not going to come back to wrestling, and if he ever does, it is going to be quite impactful. But I don't know, like I love the CM Punk character. I really enjoyed his work in the sort of 2011 CM Punk thing, but like sort of 9 years on from that, I just don't really see how he would help AEW that much.
Well, I mean, I think the hope would be that you'd get enough eyeballs on your product so that you can sort of give some of the rub to one of your homegrown performers, like an MJF or somebody like that.
But do you think he would? Do you think he would have the ability to maybe like increase the viewer figures overall of wrestling, or do you think he would just be someone who would take even more viewers away from the WWE? Like, do you think he would kind of get lapsed fans back into the product?
I don't know. I think he certainly would get a few lapsed fans back into the product because I think there are a lot of lapsed fans who do have like some nostalgia for Punk because they did sort of check back in during his run in 2011 because they were all really impressed by that quote unquote pipe bomb promo. But yeah, then I mean, but if you were AEW, I mean, you don't mind getting viewers from WWE, right? So I think that certainly would work for them.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I think if AEW really is this sort of arena where you are given that creative control to do what you like, I think yeah, I guess I would trust Punk to do it properly. I think a lot of the frustrations around the Summer of Punk storyline were that it was this brilliant sort of initial concept that just wasn't seen through to the way it should have been. Um, the kind of things that he said on his podcast with Colt Cabana, the kind of things he was suggesting that were being shot down. If you gave him that level of freedom to do that with another company, then yeah, potentially that would work quite well. And I think he has enough of an understanding of popular culture maybe to maybe give AEW some of that credibility in terms of appealing not just to the sort of insular like internet fan base, but people who used to watch wrestling back in the day as well. It's possible.
But I think his days as sort of like a full time in ring competitor are done. Like if he did come back, it would have to be like he makes a surprise return. You do like the 4 5 week cycle leading up to a pay per view, and then he disappears and comes back a year later or something.
Yeah, I think that's fine. And I think he would prefer that anyway. I think he's long past the point where he wants a kind of full time schedule from wrestling anyway. But I think yeah, if he like how many dream matches can you really get out of AW though? I mean, because like we've seen Punk and Jericho a number of times. I know it's a different platform now, but we've seen that back in WWE so often. I don't think I'd be that excited by it. Maybe Punk versus MJF would be a good feud, especially. But yeah, I don't know. Like Punk Omega, like is that really going to get that much interest from people? I don't know.
Definitely not. I think that'd be a waste of time. I think MJF would definitely be the one because he can sort of talk down to Punk and take digs at his failures in the UFC and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. I just think MJF is just on a completely other level at the moment. I think he's
he's so good.